Hello, all, and welcome back to Stories from History, where we go over interesting stories from history, whether that's about people, places, or events. If it's an interesting story from history, we are willing to tell it. And today I thought I'd go over an interesting, classic story from history, the history of the Vikings. Now, I'm sure many of you are already well acquainted with it. I myself am learning a lot about Viking history at the moment, and I thought I'd like to make a cool video about that. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. We'll talk about Vikings, raiders, traders, explorers, and kings. Because when most people hear the word Viking, they imagine long-haired warriors charging from wooden ships with their axes in their hands, ready to raid and burn and pillage. And yes, the Vikings could be terrifying. But the real story is much bigger than that. The Vikings were not just raiders, they were sailors, traders, explorers, settlers, poets, farmers, craftsmen, and kings. They came from Scandinavia, which was mainly modern-day Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. And between roughly the late 700s and late 1000 AD, they exploded outward across Europe and beyond, and this period is known as the Viking Age. And for much of Europe, it began with fear. In the year 1793, Vikings famously attacked the monastery of Lindisfarne, which is off the coast of northern England. To Christian Europe, this was horrifying. Lindisfarne was a holy site. Monasteries were supposed to be places of prayer, of learning, and of peace, but to Vikings, monasteries were vulnerable targets full of wealth. They had silver, they had gold, they had books, religious treasures. So this attack really shocked Europe and became one of the most famous opening moments of the Viking Age. Because from then on, people along the coasts and the rivers of Europe feared the sight of the longships on the horizon. And the Viking longship itself was one of the greatest pieces of technology in the early medieval world, because it was fast, it was light, flexible, and beautifully engineered. It could cross rough seas, but it could also sail up shallow rivers. It could land directly on a beach without needing a harbour, and it could appear suddenly, unload warriors quickly, and vanish before the locals could respond. And this was one of the Vikings' main advantages, is that they could strike places that was thought to be safe. Villages. When our villages had to be attacked by boats, think about the fear that would create. Monasteries, market towns, deep inland cities. They raided across England, Ireland, Scotland, Francia, and beyond, and even attacked major cities like Paris. But the expansion of the Vikings wasn't just about violence, it was also about opportunity, because in Scandinavia, farmland could be limited, especially in parts of Norway. So big, powerful families competed for land, for wealth and status, and these younger sons, these young men, needed to find fortune elsewhere. And raiding offered this. It offered treasure, profit, and land, as well as exploration, which offered fame. So the activity of the Vikings took place for many reasons, and took place in many forms. Some Vikings raided for silver and slaves. Some became mercenaries. Some founded towns. Some married into local communities, and some became kings. We see in England large Viking armies began arriving, not just to raid, but to conquer. They captured territory and established the Danelaw, a region of England under strong Scandinavian influence. Places in England ending in names like By and Thorpe often reflect Viking settlement. In Ireland, Vikings helped develop important trading towns, including Dublin. In Francia, Viking settlers were eventually given land to the north, and that became the region known as Normandy, the land of the Northmen. And in 1066, the descendants of those Vikings, the Normans, would conquer England under William the Conqueror. So these guys went big, they went massive, founding countries, establishing, laws, raiding, settling. They did a lot. And while Danish and Norwegian Vikings often moved west, Swedish Vikings moved east. They traveled along river routes through Eastern Europe, connecting the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea and the Byzantine Empire. Now, these Eastern Vikings became known as the Rus. They traded furs, wax, honey, weapons, and enslaved people. They served as warriors and merchants, and their presence helped shape the early histories of cities like Kiev and Novgorod. Some of them even reached Constantinople, the great capital of the Byzantine Empire, where Norse warriors served in the famous Varangian Guard. And this just shows you how wide the Viking world really was. From North America to the Middle East, the Vikings were a part of a massive network of movement, trade, violence, and cultural exchange. The level of exploration was extraordinary. Norwegian settlers even reached Iceland in the late 800s AD. And from there they pushed further west to Greenland. Even around the year 1000 AD, Leif Erikson, son of Eric the Red, reached a place the Norse called Vinland, usually identified with a part of North America, likely Newfoundland. That means that Norse explorers had reached North America nearly 500 years before Columbus. But even that incredible achievement was only one part of the Viking story. By the late Viking Age, Scandinavia itself was changing. The old world of independent raiders and sea kings was slowly giving way to a stronger kingdom, with organized rulers and a new religion, Christianity. Denmark, Norway, and Sweden began to become part of Christian Europe, and Viking leaders who once raided foreign coasts became kings, nobles, settlers, and merchants. Across Europe, defenses improved, armies became more organized, and the sudden longship raids that had terrified coastlines for generations became less common. The Vikings did not simply disappear after time. They adapted. They became part of the societies they had once attacked, leaving traces in language, places, names, law, trade, shipbuilding, and legend. From England to Ireland, Normandy to Russia, Iceland to Greenland, the Viking world reshaped medieval history. They were feared as raiders, respected as sailors, and remembered as explorers. And while their age eventually ended, their image never faded. The longship on the horizon, the warrior seeking fame, and the people who crossed the world in search of wealth, land, and glory. So if you liked that video, do please like and subscribe. We'll be coming with more interesting stories from history. But keep reading, keep studying, keep loving history. And that is Stories from History, signing out.